Hello everybody and welcome. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to create your own tactic and playstyle in Football Manager. And let's get started by talking about tactical philosophy. Whenever you play a match in Football Manager, your team is going to try and do two things: score a goal and stop the opponent from scoring a goal. The tactic you make is how good or bad your team is at doing those two things. But tactic is a general term and doesn't really describe how you want your team to play. Well, this is where tactical philosophy comes in. And tactical philosophy is the specific way you want your team to play during a match. It includes your formation, player roles, and instructions. This philosophy is important because if you don't know how you want your team to play, you won't be able to tell if your tactic's working or not. So, how do you make a tactical philosophy? We're going to do it in 4 steps. And the first step is come up with a broad, general sense on how you want to play. This doesn't have to be super specific. It can start as an amorphous idea, and then you'll narrow it down as you progress through the 4 steps. In this first step, you want to ask yourself questions like, do I want my team to be more attacking or more defending? Do I want them to take time on the ball or move it quickly? Do I want them to press high or defend more compact? Or even, do I want my players to have more freedom in my tactic or less? All your decisions will have benefits and drawbacks. Once you get some ideas down, you can go to step 2, and we'll talk about that in the next section. If step 1 is our ideas, then step 2 is the foundation, our formation. You want to think about those ideas you just came up with and how they can transition into a formation. Let's say you want to play defensive counter-style football. Well, a 4-4-2 would be an excellent fit. The formation is naturally defensive because we have 6 players below the halfway line. And it's naturally built for a counterattack because we have 2 wingers and 2 strikers. So our ideas on our style of play matches our formation. For some other examples, the 4-2-4 is an attacking formation, a 4-3-3 is a balanced formation, and a 3-5-2 is a defensive formation. Obviously, you can have an attack philosophy and a defensive formation, but you want these to be deliberate decisions. We want to have a plan and clear objective for all aspects of our tactic. Which leads us to step 3, player roles. I'm not exactly breaking new ground in saying that the player roles you choose are crucial to your formation. But how do you choose the right ones, and are there any rules? Well, there are no rules in which player roles you choose, and that's the fun and, if we're being honest, frustrating part about Football Manager. But much like the formation you choose, the player roles you select should fit in with the idea and philosophy you've already created. If you want to play a possession-based system, you can use roles like the deep line playmaker, the false 9, and the central defender. If you want to play a defensive style, use roles like the pressing forward, defensive winger, and ball-winning midfielder. Or if you want to use a counter system, use roles like the deep-lying forward, central midfielder, and ball-playing defender. After step 3 is where I would recommend testing out your tactic. Trying out a tactic before you add instructions is, I find, the best way to see what's going right and what's going wrong. It's much easier to diagnose what's going wrong in a tactic when all you have is a formation and some player roles. Okay, at this point you may be wondering, well, how do I know what to look for during a match, and how can I tell if it's working or not? So in the next section, we'll go over our team example for today, I'll go over my tactical philosophy, what to look for in a match, and the final step. We are back with River Plate today, and let's first look at my tactical philosophy that I created for them. I want to be attacking. I'd rather win a match 4-3 than 1-0. I want to have a back 3 formation when we have the ball. This will help us with possession and keep pressure on the opponent. And the last one is a bit selfish, but because I have to watch them, I want to play some beautiful football. Which brings me to step 2, our formation. I've chosen a 4-2-3-1, as this is naturally an attacking formation. This formation also lets me use the 10 role, which is a role I've always loved, and it can be a key creator for our beautiful football. And these are the player roles I've chosen, with 3 attack-focused roles in the Poacher, Enganche, and Raumdeuter. And those last 2 are especially creative roles. The winger is going to give us width, and our defensive midfielder and segundo volante will support our midfield. But the backline is essential in how I want to play. and it comes down to one role, the no-nonsense fullback. Their positioning when we have the ball will allow the libero to push up, and with the central defender, it gives us our wide back three formation. To recap, my tactical philosophy, formation, and player roles are all working together. I want to add in team instructions, but I first need to see how the formation and player roles are working together. So we're going to check out some examples of this initial tactic. And whenever you're watching a match, specifically when you have the ball, and you're trying to figure out what's working and what's not, you only need to ask yourself one question. What do I want my player to do when they have the ball? Do you want your player to dribble more, or maybe dribble less, or pass it longer, or pass it shorter? The player roles you select will be the main motivation in what each position does when they have the ball, and you should think about what you want them to do. With all that said, let's check out some examples. Our first example is a boring play where nothing happens, but these plays are important in finding out your play style. Right now, my central defender is on the ball. This is a role that plays it safer and likes to keep possession, so he's most likely not going to pass it to the striker up top. However, he does have an option in the midfield as well as a teammate out wide. Let's watch and see what he does. So watching again, the pass went out to the fullback and nothing really happened. In this case, I like the pass type. The central defender doesn't play risky passes, which is why I chose that role. But I still want to influence where he passes the ball. I want that ball to go into the midfield. If we look at a screenshot, I want him to pass the ball here, not here, because I have numbers in the midfield, and this is an area I think we have strength, and our playmaker is there too. On top of that, I'd like the pass to happen quickly, so the opponent doesn't have time to reset their shape. So that's our first example of looking at the type of pass to look for. Here's an example of how you can look at player roles. This is us on the ball attacking to the left. It helps to pause the match and just look at where your players are and see if you have any players that are attacking threats, players that are in support of them, and then players providing cover. For us, we've got 4 players in the box, plus 3 supporting the attacking midfield area. And this is where the unsung heroes of our tactic comes in, the no-nonsense fullbacks. You can see their positioning not only protects the flanks, but along with the central defender, we've created our wide back 3 that has created a shell. My player on the ball will use the no-nonsense fullback as an outlet as we retry our attack. We then use the midfield, which is something I like seeing. Ultimately, we get the goal. This brings us to our final step, team instructions. I like to use team instructions to accentuate the playstyle I want, not dictate it. The formation and player roles I've chosen are the main catalyst for how I want to play. Team instructions are there to highlight that playstyle. In those clips, I saw glimpses of the playstyle I liked. I liked our positioning and player roles, and sometimes I even liked that passing into the midfield, but they didn't always exactly do what I want. So I add in my first team instructions. The positive mentality, shorter passing, higher tempo, and dribble less. These will tell my players to focus on passing it to nearby teammates and doing it quickly. Let's look at another match updated with these 3 team instructions. Once again, my central defender is on the ball, and it's not too dissimilar from the other play. He's got a teammate in the midfield and 2 players out on the flanks. But now I'm telling him to focus on making this pass rather than leaving it up to chance. We bring in the defensive midfielder to keep possession and move the ball up the field. This is exactly the type of ball movement I want. But with my segundo volante now on the ball, he's going to give us an opportunity to add in another team instruction. He shoots the ball and wastes the work we did getting the ball into a good area. After that, I add in my final team instruction, work ball into box. an instruction that tells my team to pass up multiple good shots so we can get one great shot. This should help curtail any wasted shots. And that's what you do, keep iterating on the tactic. Watch our matches and find out what you like and don't like. I'll save it for another video, but you can further refine your tactic by adding in player instructions. Now that we've got our completed tactic, let's check out some plays to see how it's doing. Here's a play where we get a couple of high quality scoring chances. This is also a good example of our 3-2-5 attacking shape. We've got the two no-nonsense fullbacks and central defender creating our wide back three. We've got the defensive midfield and libero in the midfield. And then we've got our 5 attackers. We get the ball to the enganche, out to the wing, and then into the box to get some excellent scoring chances. This play will be an example of how we can take advantage of the opponent's mistakes, and show another reason why I love the no-nonsense fullback. We're attacking to the right and the ball is in the bottom right corner. The defender is going to clear it, but because our no-nonsense fullback stays deep, they create that shell again to pin the opponent in. This makes it easy to control possession and take advantage of an opponent out of their shape. In this one, we're starting with my sweeper keeper on the ball, and showcase some of that beautiful football I've been looking for. As we wrap up the video, if you're wondering about any of these roles or how to make your own certain type of tactic, I've got playlists that break down all the roles as well as some different tactical ideas. And a friendly reminder that I've got a Patreon account if you'd like to support the channel. Anyway, that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.